Mate, the video that I have just watched has blown my mind. Let me give you some context. Throughout our history, there have been a number of civilizations, whether they were separated by distance or time, they could have never made contact with each other. The video I've just watched could completely contradict that idea. If you like the video, please do me a favor and like the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Them briefly. I
Fact
explored
file.
the Olmec mystery in considerable depth.
Could you explain that to people that maybe
In Fingerprints of the
Man,
Gods?
Graham Hancock.
Yes. So
Have
The
you
legend
ever
himself.
stumbled upon something that just doesn't fit, like finding a taco truck in the middle of a sushi festival? That's kind of what's happening with certain cultural artifacts popping up in places they really shouldn't be. From ancient Egyptian glyphs to Viking blades that really should not exist, how did these artifacts end up so far from their supposed origins?
Do you know what's mad? I'm going to put a picture on screen now that I found. This is insane. This same carving, like thousands of miles away from each other. Mental.
1. Ancient Egyptian symbols in the
Sorry, one thing I will add. This stuff being seen, whether it's artifacts, carvings, paintings, when they all look exactly the same, which a lot of them do, and that's not even up for debate either. A lot of them are quite literally copy and pasted. This speaks to a civilization of people who existed around the same time, or even at various different points, who were significantly more advanced than the later civilizations, including us. Unfortunately, that isn't much of an accepted argument, but I don't know. You guys watch this video and you let me know what you think. I know what I think. I don't like speaking in absolutes because I don't have 100% facts and 100% knowledge. So I would never speak in absolutes. I can just give my theory and what I think. But yeah, let me know what you guys think.
Australian bush. Do you think the Egyptians were in Australia? Long before it was easy to travel across the world, ancient Egyptians may have left their mark on the land down under. The Gosford glyphs, a collection of over 300 carvings, look suspiciously like Egyptian hieroglyphs. You've got boats, chickens, owls, dogs, and even human figures etched into the rocks. And yes, there's even one that looks like Anubis, the ancient Egyptian god of the afterlife. These symbols are carved into two large rock walls near Gosford, and their similarity to the Egyptian style is hard to ignore.
It is
gets
so
even more
true.
interesting when you learn that experts in hieroglyphics have studied the carvings and claim some parts can actually be translated. So maybe these aren't just random doodles after all. And then there's the weathering on the carvings. The same lichen and moss have grown over both the surface of the rock and the grooves of the carvings, which means they've likely been there for a long time. The color of the carvings and the rock is nearly identical, which suggests these symbols aren't exactly new. They could be way older than we
Wait, hold on. I'm asking a silly question here. Is that what I think it is? Because if you look from the side, if you tilt your head 90 degrees to the right, it's an F, the letter. If you look at it with your head straight up, it doesn't look like an F. It actually looks like another thing.
realize. But how did they get there? Could ancient Egyptians have sailed across oceans?
Wait, are we saying that this is in Australia? Because, I mean, we quite literally... Hold on, let me get rid of my big head. We know who this is. And also carrying... Let me go back 5 seconds. Oh,
Australia.
Let me go back 5 seconds. Look, is that not, again, put it on screen right now. Is that not the same? Ooh.
Ancient Egyptians have sailed across oceans, visiting Australia before anyone else. Some people believe it's possible, while others wonder if the carvings could be a more recent creation. But who would have gone to so much trouble?
And that was an alien spaceship, if I'm not wrong.
The Egyptian Apis bull carving, found in a US desert. Have you ever stumbled upon something so strange that it made you question everything you thought you knew? That's exactly what happened to Nick Johnson and his brother in the Utah desert. They were on the hunt for fossils when they came across what they thought was just a bison, but it actually turned out to be an ancient bull carving. With its striking symmetrical horns, this thing looked like the Apis bull, a major symbol in ancient Egyptian rituals linked to fertility and the afterlife. Now, how did this ancient Egyptian symbol end up in the middle of America? After 2 years of digging into this mystery, Nick found signs that the carving has some serious age to it. Mineral deposits in the grooves hint it's been around for a while, way longer than you'd expect. But wait,
Couple of years.
it gets crazier. Nearby, they found Celtic symbols, an Ogham writing, an old form of script made up of vertical lines. It was used by the Irish Celts between the 4th and 10th centuries.
Wow.
Some believe this evidence hints at ancient Celtic explorers reaching America long before Columbus. These discoveries really make you think about the cultural exchanges that might have happened thousands of years ago. It's not just about bulls, it's about ancient peoples possibly sharing knowledge and rituals.
I thought we knew that people had been or discovered the Americas long before Columbus anyway. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Across continents. Could it be that
pretty
the
sure we did.
Egyptians and Celts had connections we've never even considered? 3. The Olmec and African contact theory. If you ever wandered through the jungles of ancient Mesoamerica and came upon
gangster,
the
look at him,
Olmec
man.
civilization that reigned from 1200 to 400 BC,
Honestly, it sounds crazy, right? But if you put, I don't know, any Hollywood actor that anyone would love, if you put them in a room and then you put Graham Hancock in a separate room and it said you have the choice to meet one of them, but you cannot meet both, 100% I'm going into Graham Hancock. That conversation would be unbelievable. And I hope that one day, I'd love to have a conversation with him. I really would. Just to pick his brain for half an hour would be unbelievable. Damn.
you might have done a double take. Some of their colossal stone heads bear surprising similarities to certain African features, broad noses, and full lips, to be exact. Now, the Olmecs are pretty famous for their huge stone heads, some even weighing up to 40 tons. But when you look
Jesus.
closely, you might actually notice that some of their features, the broad noses and full lips in particular, are a little too similar to certain African traits. Now, before you start drawing any conclusions, let's be a little realistic. The evidence is a bit of a mixed bag, and scholars sure do love getting into heated debates about it, which is honestly half the
It's just
fun.
unbelievable, isn't it?
It is true that the Olmecs were skilled seafarers, navigating rivers and coastlines like pros. So, who's to say they didn't decide to hop on a boat and explore distant lands? 4. The Viking blood.
Isn't it almost accepted that, I mean, it should really be accepted that lands were explored by seafarers, because otherwise places like Australia and, is it Cyprus? Places like that, which were inhabited thousands upon thousands of years ago, can only be reached by boat. So that shouldn't really be something that's sort of widely argued, I don't think. But anyways.
Blades ahead of their time. What would you do if you found a sword that seemed like it was pulled straight out of a Norse saga? Well, that's
Unbelievable.
exactly what the Ulfbert swords feel like. These legendary blades, dating back to around 800-1000 AD, are ridiculously rare. Only about 170 of them have been discovered, and they're not your run-of-the-mill weapons. They're crafted from incredibly pure high-carbon steel that's unlike anything else
Wait, what
found
did he
in
say?
medieval Europe.
8,100
You'll also see
AD.
the name Ulfbert engraved on them, which translates to wolf-light, and most likely refers to either the swordsmith or a powerful workshop or guild that made them. And the thing is, creating steel with such little slag demanded temperatures of around
What'd you call me?
3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, something that didn't pop up in Europe until much, much later. In fact, blacksmiths only seemed to figure out how to reach those extreme temperatures during the Industrial Revolution. So how did these Viking swords even get forged with such superior
This is what I mean when I say things. Again, I'm not going to speak in absolutes. However, a lot of the stuff that we think that we as a civilization created, whether we know that we didn't or not, I believe in myself that they are rediscoveries, as in they've been doing this for a long time. Previous civilizations were able to do things, and they had things that today we say as a civilization that we invented or discovered. I think it's time to look at certain things that were discoveries or inventions as maybe rediscoveries or innovation, taking an already known idea and making it slightly better to suit our needs.
The leading theory is that they might have imported high-quality steel from the Middle East, most likely via trade routes linked to the Volga River. The Islamic world was pretty well known for producing top-notch crucible steel, also called Damascus steel. So, could these legendary blades be a product of ancient cross-cultural connections?
It's mad how well they're preserved, isn't it?
The mysterious ring, linking two worlds. In a pretty surprising Viking burial find, archaeologists uncovered a ring with an Arabic inscription, the only one of its kind ever found in Scandinavia. Discovered in a 9th century Swedish grave, the ring bears the word Allah in Kufic script, an ancient style of Arabic writing. Researchers used advanced techniques like scanning electron microscopy and energy dispersive spectroscopy to figure out what the ring is made of.
Mate, try to say those words when you're drunk. Hold on, let me let's hear that again.
Researchers used advanced techniques like scanning electron microscopy,
Electron microscopy. Say that again.
writing. Researchers used advanced techniques like scanning electron microscopy and energy
Electron microscopy.
dispersive spectroscopy to figure out what
Not
the
even
ring
gonna
is
try.
made of. It turned out to be a silver alloy with colored glass, which was probably a novelty in Scandinavia at the time. The woman buried with the ring may have actually traveled to the Islamic Caliphate or had connections to someone who did. This small ring
Insane.
opens up big questions about Viking connections with the wider world, and it's hinting at unexpected cultural exchanges. But that's not all. There's a whole world of stories
Jesus.
and artifacts that defy easy explanation. 6. The mystery of the Mona Lisa.
Leonardo da Vinci.
The Mona Lisa is a literal cultural icon wrapped in layers upon layers of mystery and speculation.
Oh.
Painted by Leonardo da Vinci in the early 16th century, this masterpiece
Wow.
hangs in the Louvre, attracting millions of visitors every year. But who really was the woman behind that enchanting smile? Well, most people believe the sitter is Lisa Gherardini, a Florentine woman. Interestingly, her grave was actually discovered in 2011. This led to attempts to reconstruct her face. Could she really be the woman in the painting? There's definitely
Mate.
still plenty of room for doubt. Yet, doubts linger. Some argue that she might represent an ideal rather than a specific individual. And then there are the wild theories about hidden symbols. When the Mona Lisa is mirrored, a helmet-shaped creature appears, and this same creature pops up in another of Da Vinci's works, Virgin and Child with Saint Anne. What does this mean? Are we looking at a connection to extraterrestrial...
Hold on, mate, because the problem is with symbology is that a lot of the time it isn't by accident. Don't get me started, mate, because I'm going to go down a rabbit hole that I'm going to dive in with both feet.
Life?
We'll be making a video on Mona Lisa next week.
Tashwinat mummy,
I
a
won't.
mummy before mummies. We've always thought the Egyptians were the pioneers of mummification, but what if they weren't? Back in 1958, an archaeologist named Fabrizio Mori was digging around in a cave Uan Muhugiag in Libya when he stumbled upon something pretty unexpected. There was a bundle nestled in the soft sand. Turns out it was the desiccated body of a small child, wrapped up in goat or antelope skin and layered with leaves. This child had undergone a mummification process
Jesus
way
Christ.
before the Egyptians got in on the action. The body
I
was
don't
carefully
like
positioned in
this
a
stuff.
fetal
I know that's
position.
pretty obvious,
And
but-
interestingly, the child's organs had been removed and replaced with herbs. Definitely a nod to the preservation techniques we associate with mummies. To top it off, there was even an ostrich eggshell necklace around the child's neck. So what does this mean? It opens up a whole new chapter in our understanding of ancient cultures and their practices. Maybe mummification wasn't exclusive
Yeah, I don't know why I
to
didn't
Egypt
finish my
after
sentence,
all, suggesting that sophisticated preservation techniques
I know this was ancient and they probably revered this child as something, considering he was mummified before it was even commonly known that they did that. However, it's still not very nice, is it? They found a child's skull, like mummified body. It's just not nice.
were more widespread.
I mean, it's
than we
great for
ever
history,
imagined.
but
8. The sword in the stone.
horrid.
Believe it or not, there's an actual sword embedded in stone at the Chapel of Montesiepi in Tuscany. This sword, dating back to the 12th century, is tied to
Mate, why don't I know about any of this? Like the Sword and the Stone and the whole King Arthur and all that. I think that's who it's about. Anyway, I don't know about any of this. I've got no idea that they actually found a sword in a stone that's kept in a bloody museum.
To the story of Saint Galgano Guidotti, a former knight who chose a path of peace. To prove his commitment to his new life, he drove his sword into solid rock, marking the end of his violent ways. And there it remains to this day. Now here's where things get a little
It's
interesting.
insane.
The tale of Galgano sounds pretty similar to the famous King Arthur legend, with its own sword in the stone. Some even wonder if the two stories are connected. Did Galgano's symbolic act inspire the Arthurian myth, or are they just part of a larger, shared tradition? The parallels between these stories blur the line between history and legend, leaving us with plenty of room for speculation. 9.
Mate,
Burial number 38.
this is really
La
cool.
Almaloya. Burial 38 at La Almaloya isn't just any ordinary burial, it's a Bronze Age mystery wrapped in luxury. Inside a large ceramic jar, archaeologists found two skeletons, a man and a woman. What really grabs your attention is the woman, though. She was buried with an insane collection of silver, including a stunning diadem, one of only 6 ever found in such graves.
Jesus.
The man had passed away first and was buried in the jar, but when the woman followed, they reopened it to lay her beside him. And that diadem,
What really annoys me is that you look at all these ancient buildings from, like Göbekli Tepe for one. It's in Turkey, and I'll put it on screen now, like the name of it, just in case you want to look it up. But that site itself, it dates back to nearly 12,000 years. The preservation of these sites are insane. And like the fact that they still stand, and the fact that we still use certain Roman roads today, we still use certain like pipe work from those periods. But yet our stuff is turd. We can't even fill a pothole, and then it doesn't last. We filled this same pothole in my town last year when we had the same rainy period that we're in now, or wet, cold, whatever. We filled it then, and guess what? Have to fill it again this year. It is terrible. What happened? Like literally what happened? And everyone thinks that we're so advanced. I'm going to get annoyed now.
it's not
It's
just
all
a
your
piece
fault.
of jewelry. Silver crowns like this have been linked to the highest levels of power in the El Argar society. Was she a ruler in her own right? The sheer wealth
Jeez.
buried with her suggests she wasn't just along for the ride. It raises the exciting possibility that women may have played a much bigger role in political life than we've ever given them credit for. Could this diadem be proof that she was a queen? 10. The remains of a sea monster. In 2009, something huge was pulled from the cliffs of Dorset.
I don't like this.
And no, it wasn't a fossilized shipwreck, it was a pliosaur, one of the largest marine reptiles ever discovered. This massive creature, sometimes referred to as a sea monster, lived about 75 to 150 million years ago.
The crazy thing about this and about the sea is that we've only explored like 10% of the world's ocean. So no one actually knows whether these giant things exist, especially when you've got places like the Mariana Trench, which is like, I don't know, like stupidly far down. I don't even know how far down. It's like miles deep, like stupidly deep. We don't know if any giant bloody fishy things exist down there. We've got no idea because we haven't been there. Mental. And it begs the question, what else would you find down there if you haven't explored it? Like marine archaeology is one of the most fascinating things. In fact, I'm going to do another video on marine archaeology and stuff that they found underwater, because they found literal pyramids, like massive pyramids off the coast of Portugal, was it? I believe. Anyway, completely submerged, like hundreds of feet down or something like that. But they found complete pyramids, like massive structures. And no one knows about it because it's underwater and it's very hard to excavate stuff like that, especially when it's that deep. Mad.
During the age of the dinosaurs, its fossilized skull alone measured over 2 meters. That's longer than most people are tall. Its jaw was packed with an incredible 130 teeth. And we're not talking small teeth. These were the size of bananas. Stretching over 16 meters in length, the
Could you
pliosaur
imagine?
was the ultimate marine predator. Its jaws were so powerful, they could crush through pretty much anything in the ocean, from fish to other marine reptiles. Some experts even believe its
That is
bite was stronger
terrifying.
than that of a T-Rex. 11. The 9 rings.
I just realised, was that animal that they just had on the table then, was that not the one that comes out of the water in Jurassic World? Am I thinking the right thing? I don't know.
Orense.
Anyway.
In the charming city of Orense, Spain, there's a mystery that blurs the lines between legend and reality, the miracle rings. These rings, gifted by Saint Euphemia, are said to have miraculous healing powers. According to local law, touching them could cure anything from skin diseases to arthritis. But over time, these rings went missing. Did they get hidden away, stolen, or did they just get lost in the shuffle of history? It's a
This
mystery
woman's probably the
that has
healthiest woman on
fueled
earth. Well, if you touch them, then you can heal anything, mate. She's probably the healthiest woman ever.
many a treasure hunt, captivating
You'll probably find she's 200 years old.
locals
I
and
won't pause it again
historians
yet.
alike. Then enter Maria Orunha, a talented author who penned a novel that predicted where some of these rings might be. When the searchers went out, they found 4 of them exactly where she said they would be. How wild is that? It raises some
Extremely.
questions. Are these rings really magical relics of the past, or is it just an incredible coincidence? The mystery lives on. 12. Where is Alexander the Great buried? Guess what? We might be on the verge of uncovering the final resting place of none other than Alexander the Great. Researchers at the British Museum are buzzing with excitement after using augmented reality to connect a Macedonian block found in the crypt of St. Mark in Venice to a sarcophagus discovered in Alexandria, Egypt. Can you believe it? This suggests that the remains inside could actually be those of the legendary conqueror. The fit is absolutely incredible. It's like they were destined to go together. Andrew and Joseph, the masterminds behind this discovery, have been piecing together the puzzle using decades of research. They've digitally
Do we have this in the
reconstructed
UK?
tomb to show what it might have looked like, and every angle aligns perfectly. Talk about architectural finesse. What's even cooler? The symmetry in the design reflects the classic style of Macedonian architecture. At first, it
I love
sounded a
technology
bit out
so
there,
much.
but the more they dug into the evidence,
I also
the
hate
more
it.
convincing it became. Each piece of this ancient mystery is falling into place, and it's hard not to get excited about the possibility of finally finding Alexander's tomb.
Whoa.
13. The
Talking of that, again, I apologise for pausing it, but if you've watched my channel enough, you know that I do that sometimes. And if you're new to the channel and this is the first one you're watching and you don't like this dynamic, unfortunately, this is how it goes. So I apologise. I get comments sometimes like, I can't hear what they're saying over what you're saying, and I'm like, is it like your first day on the internet? Do you not know what this sort of stuff is? But anyway,
Ashoka Rock edicts in Pakistan. Would you ever expect to find Buddhist artifacts in Pakistan of all places? No, right? But guess what? It's true. The Ashoka Rock edicts in Mansehra are a true head-scratcher. Dating back to the 3rd century BCE, these inscriptions were made by Emperor Ashoka, who was all about spreading Buddhism and promoting peace. So how did these ancient messages land all
That's
the
so
way in
cool.
Pakistan? Well, Mansehra was a bustling trade hub back then, and it's believed that these edicts were carved there to reach travelers and traders passing through. They served as a kind of ancient billboard, spreading Ashoka's message far and wide.
It's just
but it
insane.
raises even more questions. Were there hidden Buddhist communities thriving in what's now Pakistan? Or was Ashoka trying to create a network of connections between different cultures? 14. The Villa
insane,
of
man.
Mysteries. Have you ever heard of the Villa of Mysteries in Pompeii? This site is like stepping into a time capsule from ancient Rome, and it's packed with fascinating stories. Discovered in 1909, the villa features some of the most captivating frescoes that give us a glimpse into the rituals of a mysterious cult. The house belonged to a wealthy family, and among them was a priestess, possibly depicted in a striking sculpture. You can even
Holy
spot
damn, that's
traces of
well
reddish paint
preserved.
in her hair and grooves where a diadem should have rested. Some experts speculate that her head might have been replaced with that of Livia,
right,
the
hold on.
wife of
My head is in the way again. Look directly behind my head. I'm sorry. What? Is he holding a head, or is that a man putting his head out of a curtain? You know, like when you sort of poke your head through. And why is his eyes like that? I mean, maybe you would have eyes like that if someone just cut your head off.
speculate that her head might have been replaced with that of Livia, the wife of Emperor Augustus. The vivid wall paintings depict a young woman undergoing a rite of passage, which some believe is linked to the cult of Dionysus, the god of wine and ecstasy. As you wander through the villa, you can't help but feel the electric energy of those ancient rituals, where secrets of life, death, and rebirth were explored. What's even more intriguing? Wandering through the villa, you'll also find 2 plaster casts of bodies in the atrium, part of a total of 9 discovered throughout the site. These haunting figures give us a chilling reminder of the volcanic eruption that buried Pompeii.
Jesus.
15. The Mask of Agamemnon. The Mask of Agamemnon feels like something straight out of an adventure story. Discovered in 1876 by the German archaeologist Heinrich Schliemann at the ancient site of Mycenae in Greece, this stunning gold mask has captured hearts and minds since the moment it was unearthed. Schliemann was convinced he'd
What
found
the hell
the
even is that?
Mask of Agamemnon, the legendary king from Homer's Iliad who led the Greeks in the Trojan War. Made from gold, the mask features an elongated face, a prominent beard, and eyes that almost seem to follow you. It's got this eerie, lifelike quality. The craftsmanship
His
is
eyes look like
top-notch,
lips.
showcasing the skills of the Mycenaean civilization that flourished around 1600 to 1100 BCE. But here's where it gets interesting.
It's old,
Some
man.
historians think the mask might not actually belong to Agamemnon at all. Radiocarbon dating hints that it could predate him by centuries, and there's no solid evidence linking it to the famed king. So, was Schliemann just playing up the drama, or is there more to this golden mystery? Whatever the case, the mask continues to be a captivating piece of ancient Greek culture, leaving us all wondering about its true origins. 16. The curious case of copycat pyramids. Everyone knows that Egypt isn't the only place on Earth for pyramid-like structures.
Wow.
Take a stroll through Central and South America, and you'll find an abundance of pyramids in places like Mexico and Peru. The Aztecs, Mayans, and Incas
The Temple
all
of
built
the
their own
Sun, is it, I
versions,
believe?
each with special twists. But how did these ancient civilizations come to create such similar monuments? Did the Egyptians have some sort of secret influence? Or is it just a wild coincidence that different cultures were erecting their own pyramids at the same time? Theories are flying around. Some folks think it could be a case of parallel development, humans across the globe finding similar solutions to the same challenges. But then there are the more out there ideas, like ancient migrations or even extraterrestrial guidance. Just imagine, what if aliens did really drop by Earth thousands of years ago, sharing their advanced architectural knowledge with different civilizations? Some conspiracy enthusiasts even point to the precision of these structures, suggesting that the techniques used to construct the pyramids were far too advanced for the time. They even argue that the alignment of the pyramids with celestial bodies hints at some kind of foreign influence. 17. The mysterious floating city that appeared in China. In 2018, something extraordinary
quality.
happened in
Jesus.
China. A mysterious floating city seemed to appear out of nowhere. Spotted in the sky over the city of Hunan, the phenomenon was so surreal that it led to wild speculation and countless theories. As reports flooded in, people described seeing towering skyscrapers and entire neighborhoods hovering above the landscape, seemingly suspended in midair. While some claimed it was a mirage or a glitch in the atmosphere, others suggested it might be a glimpse into parallel dimensions or advanced technology that we don't yet understand.
This is another thing. If any of you have seen this, please comment down below. Even if you don't usually comment on my videos, even if this is the first time you're watching something that I've ever posted, please can you comment down below to say whether you have actually seen this before, this one clip? Because I haven't. And this sort of thing, you would think, considering some of the other absolute nonsense they post on media, whether it's TV or even social media, I have never, ever, ever seen that before. And that is cool as hell. Like, even if it isn't just a mirage or some form of reflection or pareidolia, I don't know, it's still cool. Why is that not all over the news? It begs the question, doesn't it? I mean, not everything's a conspiracy theory and not everything's a conspiracy, but Why don't I know about this? Considering how much I've looked into this. It's very weird.
Scientists quickly got involved, attributing the sighting to an optical illusion caused by a combination of atmospheric conditions and temperature inversions. Still, that didn't stop the buzz. Whether
It's
it was
awesome.
a trick of the light or something more mystical, this floating city captured the hearts of many, reminding us that in our modern world, the mysteries of the unknown still exist. 18. The Moai of Easter Island. Ever
Unbelievable.
wondered how those massive stone statues on Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, got there? It's a mystery that's been puzzling people for ages. These towering moai, some weighing over 80 tons, were carved from volcanic rock and transported across the island. How did they do it? Did they roll them on logs? Or maybe they used a rope system to make them walk?
Insane.
And
Look
why
at that,
were they
bro.
made in the first place?
On this
Some think
tiny
they're
island.
ancestors, symbols of power, but there's still a lot we don't know. Over time, Easter Island's environment changed and the trees disappeared. Could the Moai have been part of the problem? Or were they a desperate attempt to hold on to their culture? They're like silent guards, watching over the island and keeping its secrets.
Bro.
19. The Shiva Linga of India. Hidden beneath the Shalmala River in Karnataka,
I love that, Easter
India,
Island. I've
the
actually
Shiva
got...
Linga-
Do you know what? One sec. I have one of the Easter Island heads. But he's wearing a hoodie instead. It's a very 2025 version. That's me if I was one of the Easter Island heads, or the Moai statues. I also have these two legends who have become a very vital part of my background. This one, I don't know, it looks like he's saying shush. At first when I saw it, I thought he was smoking, and I was like, why did I buy this? And this one looks like he's sort of trying to say peace, but no idea. They just chill next to each other. I like it. Back to the video.
Lingams are truly a sight to behold. These stone sculptures, which represent the god Shiva,
Insane.
stay underwater for most of the year, but make a grand appearance during Mahashivaratri when the river levels drop. It's like a surprise reveal that thousands of pilgrims look forward to. Some people even believe these ancient symbols might actually be linked to advanced technology. The shape of the lingam looks a lot like modern nuclear reactors, and the grooves around the base could even symbolize waste disposal. So, when worshippers pour water over these sacred stones, are they tapping into some ancient tech knowledge? Since we've covered a lot of ground, let's get right into
knowledge?
a modern mystery that seems nowhere close to being solved. 20. The mystery of Banksy's identity. Banksy is one of the art world's biggest enigmas. This elusive street artist has managed to remain under the radar, pulling off incredible stunts while keeping his true identity
guy is
a secret.
cool as
In a
hell,
time
isn't he?
when technology seems to reveal everything about everyone, the mystery surrounding Banksy makes you wonder, will we ever really know who he is? Recently, he made waves with an animal-themed art trail in London. This clever
Wow.
collection features different creatures, each piece bursting with Banksy's signature style and social commentary. From a goat wobbling on the edge of a cliff, to piranhas invading a police box, and even a gorilla trying to pry open the gates of London's zoo, Banksy's creations are as surprising as they are mind-bending. While people flock to see his latest creations, the question lingers, how does he manage to pull off these elaborate installations without getting caught? With every new
Just
piece,
insane, isn't
Banksy
it?
keeps us guessing, making the hunt for his identity even more thrilling. Will we ever uncover the mysteries that continue to elude us? Only time will tell.
Bro, I'm going to have to look into that Banksy one a little bit more, you know. I didn't realize how much I liked that until that one segment just came up. Mate, I really, really enjoyed that video. I apologize. I did pause it a few times and I sort of waffled on. So if during those times you don't want to hear me waffle, just fast forward it. You know what I mean? But it's only because I really enjoy that stuff. And if you did, please do me a favor. Like the video. Subscribe. I don't know. Send the video to someone who would like it. Anyone who likes ancient history, send it to them. They might learn something, or they might have alternate views to mine. And that's okay, because the good thing about history is that if you disagree, you're right. And if you agree, you're also right, because no one actually knows. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.